they're rich. They get richer even while they sleep. Why? Because they understand the real game of money, and the rules are not what schools teach you. Welcome to the Passive Path. Today, you'll discover why the rich are getting richer, and why most people stay stuck. But more importantly, you'll learn how to break free and build real wealth like this video. Subscribe to the Passive Path and share your thoughts in the comments. Let's get started. You were taught to work for money, to save money, and to hope that someday you'll have enough. That's the middle-class mindset, and it's a trap. Rich people don't work for money. They work for cash flow streams of income that keep flowing whether they work or not. Paper money loses value every year, but cash flow assets grow. And that's the first secret most people never learn. Look around you. How many people say, "I can't afford it, I'll never be rich. I just need a better job." That's how they stay poor. Not because they lack intelligence, but because they follow the wrong plan. Robert Kiyosaki calls this working for trash. Money itself is paper. It's not wealth. It's just a tool. Since 1971, when the US dollar was taken off the gold standard, that paper money has lost value every year. Saving it is like filling a bucket full of holes. While the poor and middle class chase dollars, the rich focus on buying income-producing assets. Think about it. If you save $10,000 in cash, it buys less every year. But if you buy an asset, it's like real estate or Bitcoin, it tends to increase in value over time. Most people believe saving money will make them rich. That belief keeps them poor since 1971. Money has become debt. Governments print more every year. The value of each dollar, euro, yen, or peso drops steadily. If you save cash, your wealth shrinks over time. That's why Robert says savers are losers. It's not an insult. It's a fact of how modern money works. People who work and save paper money lose purchasing power. They trade their time for dollars. Then those dollars lose value. While sitting in the bank, the rich don't save money. They save assets. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, real estate businesses, cattle, oil, wells. Assets either produce income or rise in value over time. Paper money does neither. Most schools never teach this because most teachers don't know it themselves. They believe in saving and retirement accounts, the very tools designed to keep people dependent on a paycheck. When inflation rises, the value of your savings falls. Your dollars can't buy what they used to. That's why Robert started buying silver and gold. As a young man, he understood that real assets preserve wealth. Paper money does not today. He owns gold mines, silver mines, Bitcoin, real estate, and cattle. Each asset is real. It has value independent of government promises or central bank policies. Poor and middle-class people invest in stocks, bonds, and ETFs, pieces of paper tied to the same system that prints money and creates debt. The rich avoid paper promises. They buy real things. You can do the same. Ask yourself, how much gold do you own? How much silver? How much Bitcoin? How many cash flowing assets? The answer is none. You're depending on paper money, and that paper is designed to lose value. Don't just save. Build a foundation of real assets. That foundation creates stability and income no matter what happens to the economy. Your financial security depends on assets that hold or grow value. It's not on saving cash that shrinks every year. You don't need millions to start. You need the right mindset and a commitment to building assets over time. This is how the rich protect and grow their wealth. And you can too. The Passive Path is here to help you learn and apply these principles, so you can stop working for money and start making money work for you. Next, let's talk about the kind of assets the rich focus on and why they choose them over paper promise. Rich focus on assets that produce cash flow or increase in value over time, or both. They don't save money, they save assets. Real estate, gold, silver, Bitcoin, businesses, cattle, oil wells. Each of these either puts money into their pockets or grows in value regardless of inflation. Robert shared an example of a real estate deal. Bought an old sports club for around $3 million. He put down $100,000 and paid about $5,000 a month at first glance. It was just another building. But Robert understood something most people miss: the power of zoning and cash flow. He contributed to local campaigns. The result: he got the property zoned for 4 stories instead of 3. That 4th story increased the building's value dramatically. Today, that single building puts $100,000 a month into his pocket, over $1 million a year. He has no personal money tied up in the deal. It's all financed and managed through smart investing. This is what the rich do. They take paper money, which loses value, and turn it into assets that generate income every year, every month, without working a job. Compare that to saving money in a bank, where inflation eats away at your savings and interest rates rarely keep up. Assets work for you. Money does not look at Bitcoin. It was designed to increase in value over time, because its supply is limited. Only 21 million Bitcoin will ever exist. As governments print more and more paper money, Bitcoin becomes more valuable by comparison. Gold and silver follow similar principles. Their value isn't tied to government debt or inflation. They have been stores of value for thousands of years. Poor and middle-class people hold on to cash or invest in paper assets like stocks and bonds. Assets that can lose value in market crashes, or be inflated away by central banks. The rich avoid these traps. They buy what's real, what's scarce, what produces income. And they repeat this process again and again, building cash flow streams that fund their lifestyle and grow their wealth. This is how financial freedom is built, not by working longer hours, not by saving more paper money, but by owning assets that work for you. The Passive Path is your guide to learning these strategies and applying them to your own financial journey. Next, let's look at how the rich use debt to their advantage. While others fear it, and most people fear debt. They see it as dangerous, something to avoid at all costs. But the rich see debt differently. They use it as a tool, a way to acquire assets without using their own money. There are 2 types of debt: bad debt and good debt. Bad debt buys liabilities, things that take money out of your pocket, like credit cards, car loans, and personal loans for vacations or consumer goods. Good debt buys assets, things that put money into your pocket, like real estate, businesses, or investments that produce income. Robert's real estate deal is a perfect example. He didn't use his own cash to buy the building. He used financing good debt to control a property that now pays him $100,000 a month. That's the power of good debt, while most people work to pay off bad debt. The rich acquire good debt that works for them. Banks lend money to people who know how to use it to generate income. That's why understanding debt is a key to building wealth. Poor and middle-class people avoid debt, or they drown in bad debt. The rich embrace good debt because they know how to make it profitable. They borrow at low interest rates, invest in cash-flowing assets, and use the income from those assets to pay off the debt while keeping the profits. It's a simple formula, but it requires financial education and the right mindset. Most schools never teach this. Instead, they teach fear of debt and encourage people to stay in the cycle of working and saving. It's why the rich keep getting richer and others stay stuck. You can break out of that cycle by learning how to use good debt and by focusing on acquiring assets that produce income at the Passive Path. We believe financial education is your most valuable asset. It gives you the knowledge and confidence to make smart decisions. Next, let's explore why the political system often benefits the rich, and how understanding this can help you grow your wealth. Too many people believe elections are fair and free. Anyone can rise to power through honesty and hard work. But the reality is different. Money influences politics just as it influences business and real estate. Robert shared how campaign contributions changed the value of his real estate investments by supporting local campaigns. He was able to secure zoning changes which increased the value and income potential of his properties. This is not corruption, it's understanding how the system works. Politicians need funding. Campaigns cost millions of dollars. Those who contribute often gain access and influence in some cases. A position like Secretary of State might require raising $100 million. Even positions like Secretary of Education or Secretary of Defense come with high financial expectations. That's why many politicians start their careers with modest wealth and leave office rich. They gain insider knowledge opportunities and sometimes participate in practices like insider trading, which are illegal for ordinary citizens but allowed for lawmakers. This system rewards those who understand the flow of money and who use it to their advantage. Robert's poor dad ran for office, but he was honest and lacked the financial backing needed to succeed. His rich dad taught him that success in politics and business often depends on financial influence. This doesn't mean you have to become a politician, but it does mean you should understand how money shapes the world around you. By recognizing these patterns, you can make smarter decisions. Avoid traps and position yourself to benefit from the same forces that help the wealthy grow richer. The passive path encourages you to observe how money flows not just in your personal life, but in your community, your country. In the global economy, knowledge is power, and financial knowledge can set you free. Next, let's talk about how to build your own financial foundation so you can stop depending on systems designed to keep you poor. Start creating lasting wealth for yourself and your family. Is this conversation helpful so far? Building your financial foundation is the first real step toward wealth without a strong foundation. Everything else collapses. Most people's financial foundation is built on paper money, jobs, and savings accounts. But as we've learned, paper money loses value. Jobs can disappear and savings rarely keep up with inflation. The rich build foundations based on real assets. Start with gold. Gold has preserved wealth for thousands of years. It's tangible, scarce, and independent of government policies. Add silver, like gold. Silver holds value and has industrial uses, making it both a store of value and a practical commodity. Include Bitcoin. It was designed to increase in value as traditional currencies lose value, with only 21 million Bitcoin ever to exist. Its scarcity drives its long-term value. Diversify into real estate properties that produce income and appreciate over time. Consider cattle and other commodities. These are real. They hold value regardless of currency fluctuations. This is how Robert built his financial foundation. And how you can too. The average person holds cash, the wealthy hold assets. If you want financial security, stop saving paper money. Start saving assets, even small amounts. 1 silver coin, a fraction of a Bitcoin, a share of income producing real estate. Every step counts as you build your foundation. Your cash flow will grow. Your dependency on a paycheck will shrink. You will no longer fear inflation, recessions, or job loss, because your money will be working for you, even when you sleep. The passive path exists to help you make these smart, steady moves. Not quick fixes, but real strategies for long-term wealth. Next, let's look at why most people will stay poor, and how you can avoid making the same mistake. Most people will stay poor, not because they lack intelligence, but because they stay comfortable. Comfort is the enemy of growth. It feels safe to work a job, to save money, to follow the crowd, but that path leads to financial struggle. Especially when the rules of money keep changing, people fear change. They fear taking risks. They fear looking foolish or failing. So they stay where they are, working for money, saving paper, and hoping things will get better. Hope is not a strategy. The rich take calculated risks. They invest in their education. They buy assets. They leverage good debt. They surround themselves with mentors and like-minded people. They act while others hesitate. One of Robert's students once shared her journey. She started with no assets, no savings, and a lot of fear. But she took the first step. She bought one small rental property. It wasn't easy, but it produced a small cash flow. She reinvested that cash flow into another property and another. Today, she owns multiple properties, each producing income. Her job became optional. Her wealth continues to grow. She didn't wait for the perfect time. She started small and stayed consistent. This is the mindset that separates the wealthy from the struggling. If you stay in your comfort zone, you will stay in the poor zone. But if you take action, even small steps, you can change your financial future. The Passive Path is here to guide you, to help you move from fear to confidence. From working for money to making money work for you. Next, let's discuss practical steps you can take right now to start building wealth and securing your financial freedom. Here are the practical steps to build wealth and escape the paycheck to paycheck cycle. First, stop saving paper money. It loses value every year. Instead, start saving assets like gold, silver, Bitcoin, and cash-flowing real estate. Second, audit your income sources. Identify which sources depend on your time and which ones produce income without your effort. Your goal is to grow the second type. Passive income. Third, cut unnecessary expenses. Redirect that money into acquiring assets. Even small investments matter. A silver coin, a fraction of Bitcoin, small share in a real estate deal. Fourth, learn how to use good debt. Borrow to buy assets, not liabilities. Study how the rich leverage debt to grow wealth. Fifth, invest in your financial education. Read books, attend workshops, follow channels like The Passive Path. Surround yourself with people who understand money and wealth building. Sixth, create an action plan. Set clear goals. Decide what assets you will acquire this year. Track your progress. Seventh, stay consistent. Wealth building takes time, but every step forward brings you closer to financial freedom. Eighth, never depend solely on one source of income. Diversify your cash flow. Multiple streams protect you from job loss, market downturns, and inflation. Ninth, stay aware of economic trends. Understand how government policies, inflation, and debt levels impact your financial future. 10th, keep your mindset strong. Reject fear. Reject the employee mentality. Adopt the mindset of an investor. Your future wealth depends on the actions you take today. Tomorrow, not someday. Today, the Passive Path is committed to helping you take those actions and to guiding you toward true financial freedom. Like this video, subscribe to the Passive Path. Share your thoughts in the comments. You can stay in the system or you can own it. The choice is yours. You've now learned why the rich keep getting richer, why most people stay stuck, and most importantly, how you can break free and build real wealth. The path is clear. Stop working for money. Start building assets, create cash flow, and take control of your financial future. If you found value in this video, like it, subscribe to the Passive Path, and comment below with your thoughts or questions. Share this video with someone you care about, someone who needs to hear these truths and take action. I wish you the best on your journey to financial freedom. Feel free to explore other videos on this channel. We're packed with insights to help you grow your wealth and mindset. See you in the next video. Which path are you on? Robert once shared how a friend called him needing $100,000 for a deal. Did he have the cash sitting in the bank? No, but he knew how to get it. That's the difference between the rich and everyone else. The poor say, I can't afford it. The rich say, how can I afford it? Your mindset determines your wealth, not your job title. You might think education holds the key, but the truth is, most schools teach you how to be an employee, not how to be financially free. Robert's poor dad had a PhD, highly educated, but financially stuck. His rich dad taught him about money, not in a classroom, but by playing Monopoly for greenhouses, one red hotel. That simple lesson planted the seed of wealth. School told him to get a job, save money, and invest in stocks. Rich dad told him to build cash flow, to buy assets that produce income, and to never depend on a paycheck alone. Which education do you have? Most people follow advice from other poor or middle-class people. Get a job, save money, invest in retirement accounts. Work for 40 years and hope it will be enough. That's not wealth, that's survival. Your goal should be to create income that flows to you whether you work or not. That's what the rich do. And you can too. The first step, stop thinking like an employee. Start thinking like an investor. The next step, understand the truth about saving money. I'll explain that next. Shall we continue? But the rich use debt to buy assets, real estate, businesses, commodities, like gold and silver. Then they use the tax code to legally avoid taxes. Because when you own assets, especially with debt, the system rewards you. Meanwhile, most people follow advice meant to keep them poor, save cash. But cash loses value every year. Work hard and get a good job. But jobs are taxed at the highest rates. Invest in a 401. But Wall Street controls what you can invest in. The wealthy do the opposite. They control their money, create better investments. And they multiply their wealth while paying little or no taxes. Think about this. If you had a chance to legally pay no taxes, and get banks to give you money to buy assets, would you take it? It's how the wealthy operate. And you can too. But first, you have to stop thinking like an employee. Start thinking like a capitalist. Your job is not to work for money. Your job is to acquire assets. The passive path is about that shift. It's about moving from labor to leverage, from working for dollars to owning streams of income. The next part, we'll talk about the single most powerful tool the wealthy use to build lasting wealth, and why avoiding it could keep you poor forever. Stay with me. That tool is debt, but not the kind of debt most people fear. Bad debt is used to buy things that lose value: cars, clothes, vacations. Good debt is used to buy assets, assets that grow in value, assets that pay you every month. The wealthy love good debt, because debt lets you buy more than you could with cash. And when inflation rises, it makes that debt cheaper over time. Imagine borrowing $1 million today.